So it appears that at the top, the humans are bioengineered, chemically at least. And as far as I can look back, they've been doing plastic surgery for at least 100 years. And you don't know that because they're doing the same thing they did today. And they called it medical procedures. So now some of that plastic surgery is considered standard medical procedure, like removing your molars, so people can attempt to get this jawline right here. And the chemical thing, you're not going to go anywhere in the athletic world, in the bodybuilding world, without chemicals. That started, as far as I can see, around the age of Arnold being thrown onto the scene. But I was already getting little ads in my magazines as a kid, about grow bigger and all this stuff. And I kind of assume maybe in the 80s as a child, I was being shown ads to either sell me scams that didn't work, or they were actually selling me hormones and stuff, but I didn't buy it. They always sold it as a skinny kid getting picked on and beat up. You got to get bigger, order this today. And the only thing, there's really only one thing that would have worked and not been a scam. So I don't know what that was. I didn't order it. But these days we know what it is. And lo and behold, you can also go to your doctor and get it these days too. You can get that chemical engineering done. When I was a kid, they started feeding kids amphetamines. Why did they target me specifically? I don't know, lots of things in my life. I sometimes wonder if I'm just like an unwanted person and I was being specifically targeted to make me stupid because I didn't really need drugs. I was already winning awards from the president and honor this, honor that, honor roll, honor advanced classes, things like that. 2 percentile, things like that. So when I look back and I see that they gave me amphetamines, I was like wondering like why I would need that to bioengineer me to make me smart if I'm already where I'm at. And then I was reading like 28 books a week before they gave me that stuff. And then oddly after they gave me that stuff, I don't know, maybe I did become smarter. I realized school's a waste of time and I stopped. I mean, technically I just stopped for a minute, but my last year I went, it was kind of a joke. It's a joke. I was like, hey, look, we're an honor student again. I'm going to win all these awards and then quit school because it's pointless. So it's hard to tell, especially with the things I see going on around me. I'm going to assume people are being targeted. I mean, you can kind of see that, right? Kobe Bryant was killed. He was murdered. And they told you they were going to kill him and how they're going to kill him. And he's dealing with the group at the top who does all the bioengineering. Arnold's mentor would have been Joe Weider. It was Joe Weider, not would have, was Joe Weider. So we can link that together. He was working with the people at the top there too. Possibly you get what you wish for, and LeBron just asked to kill Kobe to get him out of the way, and they did that. But Kobe, he seen something too much, whatever. But we know that's happening. That that's obviously set up. They set that up to kill him. So for whatever reason, the people doing the bioengineering and controlling things are murdering people. And there's always been that little talk, too, where people think other people are dying, and then the media is like, oh, no, he's a crackhead pedophile. Michael Jackson wasn't killed. He's just a drug addict, crackhead pedophile. But it's like, okay, on with the subject, right into it. The musicians are all on the same drug. Because you know what? You're not going to get there without that either. Just like a bodybuilder is not going to grow large without growth hormone and steroids. All the musicians are on a drug that relaxes them, makes them happy and excited, gives them creativity. Michael Jackson died from it. And generally, so recently did Tom Petty. But it always confuses me how you can be an expert user and die from something unless you want to. Because expert users are everywhere and they're not dying. And these people are professional users. They have to use before shows, they use before practice, they use before studio. It alters you. Just as the stuff Arnold and athletes take, it doesn't just change your body shape. It changes your mind. It in the same way as the happy stuff does, as the happy creative stuff does, it gives you a drive. Now it can give you this drive can come with like aggression and stuff, and if someone does something stupid to you, you might snap them in half without thinking twice about it. Or you question what someone's doing, you might just snap them in half so you don't have to worry about questioning them anymore. But it still has that same drive, it's just in a different format. And it gives you this like superhuman ego positivity outlook on life. They don't tell you that about that stuff. It's not just about getting your muscles bigger. Like the ego, the drive is boosted. It's not just like a physical look thing you get when you take that stuff. It's a mental state. You become number one. You just have endless drive and probably need less sleep and stuff. I don't know. I've never had a problem. I've always had a problem with not going to sleep for the most part until recently. And then, unless I want to recently. So like that has that same drive shit too. So those people at the top, that same drive shaft, my bad. People at the top there in that field, they're using drugs to become celebrities and people you want to listen to, people positive outlook and, positive till you say something they don't like and they chop your head off with an axe in that case. But a positive outlook, straight energy, a drive, that comes with testosterone. It does. I've taken it. I'm the only one talking about it. How come no one else talks about that? Because they're all fucking hiding it. They're like, okay, so they're hiding the secret to how they get big. So you think that's the secret they're hiding? There's a secret behind that to how they get so positive and energetic and number one, and it just oozes out them and everyone's like, oh, it's number one. Like you kind of like feel it yourself because it comes out them so much. It's so weird how those things happen. Like I take these things and the people around me feel how I feel, like crazy how that happens. So all these people are doing these things to get into the positions they are. To be able to get to where they are, they have to have that drive. They have to have that positive outlook, that I'm number one, this is the greatest world there is, all this stuff. And so they're all on it, okay? Everyone's on it. Michael Jackson died from it. Tom Petty died from it. And they're not dying from it. They're dying from something. And it's weird that a professional user dies of anything because they've been using their whole lives and not dying. So, kind of makes no sense. You would know how something works. I don't, know how a car works for 30 years and then one day go out there and kill myself in it, right? That hasn't happened yet. Could. It happens a lot to these other people now. And, some of these other people are saying certain words, participating in certain things that are real close to things that control the world. And if you do that, well, you might get killed. Like, they might brag about it. And then they'll use their media to tell you it's a conspiracy theory after they brag about it and stuff. But, so do they also use these drugs the other way? Like, because I got to look back when I was fed amphetamines as a kid. There's pretty much no point to feed me amphetamines unless you're trying to get me out of school and learn that school's too stupid for me. And I should just go outside and ride my bike for the rest of my life or something stupid. Because it's not like when I was started on that, I had the choice to go do anything I want in life. I wasn't allowed to do anything I want. I was forced to read 28 books a week and win awards from the president and go to school, and stare out the window and then fill out a test and get all A's and stuff. Some teachers actually, kind of graded me like an A or an A minus instead of A plus because I didn't pay attention. And I didn't show work. I just filled out the forms and got it all right. But it was like, at the point in time I was giving that, it would have been pointless to give that to me because my life couldn't advance because I wasn't allowed to do anything I want. Anything I wanted. Everything I wanted, not allowed to do it. Had to do the stupid stuff that I already did without even thinking, without even paying attention. So it makes me wonder, hey, obviously, these people who are providing stuff to people who they want to parade on stage as their circus monkeys and musicians and stuff, they're also killing them sometimes when they want rid of them. So just because they're biochemically engineering, surgically engineering people to make them look better, act better, perform better, doesn't mean they care about those people, and they're doing that to help them. So any time they're doing the drugging and stuff, it's probably not got anything to do with you, and it's probably got everything to do with them wanting to make money off you and attempting to, or thinking that they're not going to make much money if you go anywhere, and putting you down in a coffin and stuff to get rid of you. So we can assume that some of the stuff is not being done with the best interest, right? Like, is telling everyone you're going to kill Kobe in a helicopter crash a good thing? What's Kobe going to grow up and be Satan one day or something? We got to kill Kobe because why? They don't answer the question. There you go. Pretty much admission that they're evil. I mean, they don't even talk about doing this stuff. So, of course, it's got some sort of evil incentive to it. You could tell people you're doing it if it's a great fucking thing. But they're not. They're not telling people they're doing that. And you don't get that stuff if you're not on board with them. You don't get your drive medication. You don't get your happy medication. You get stuff that they use to fry your fucking brain. Or, if they're already giving you the happy meds, that's weird. I have pills that are look like the prescriptions, and they kind of do something totally different than what they're supposed to do. And yeah, I'd say owning the doctors and owning the governments and owning the corporations, owning the hospitals probably allows you to make a medicine appear as the same medicine they make for someone else, but be something else. So I'm going to assume the biochemical engineering of the humans is not for their best interest. I don't see anyone talking about what goes on unless they get killed. Like, I don't know what Kobe was talking about. Kobe was out there doing the gang signs, in the open. Like, LeBron was too, who took his place. But not everyone goes out there in the open doing the gang signs and stuff. Like, everyone, like Trump, when he does it down here. Generally it's like a secret handshake where people don't look at your hands when they're shaking. They look at your faces smiling and stuff. Things like that. Like, possibly, I didn't get dropped any hints other than the fact he's out there doing the gang signs all the time. Like, in the open, pregame, he's got like 15 to 60 seconds of gang signs and stuff he's doing. And it's like, that right there, from what I've seen going on, it is reason enough to erase him, because no one else is out there doing 30, 60 seconds of gang signs every Thursday and Tuesday night on TV. So they're very, very low-key and quick with it. Even when they insult it, like, they talk about it and they only do the gang sign a couple times or something. But I assume, obviously, everyone in control is in control of everything going on. So the biochemical engineering is obviously them. So, they own the hospitals, right? Who have you ever bought drugs off of before? Isn't that weird? Even if you buy them off the street, who do you buy them off of? Do they look like a certain group of people who run the world? Because for me, they do. But then again, that's everyone I've ever known. That's some odd stuff there. Maybe that does have to do with exactly what I think it is. They're separating the humans from one another and making sure they can't. And that's part of bioengineering. The planet is separating people and forcing them with who you want them to be with, or forcing them to not be with someone so you can extinguish their bloodlines and stuff. Make sure they can't accidentally have a kid who gets smart and things like that. Can't have smart cattle. You gotta have them so they can throw balls through hoops and, run track meets and perform music on stage. But if they get too smart, you gotta off them. Now, speaking of this, the reason why I'm provoked to touch subject again, go into more detail, is because I was listening to one of my comedy specials, and I guess there was a new DVD version that had an intro to it that I had never seen before, and he was making jokes about the chemicals that all the people at the top are using to get their job done. If you've ever, it makes me think, when I get involved in this stuff, it makes me think, I played instruments for a long ass fucking time. I've been a fucking athlete for a long ass time. And I'm not 300 pounds of muscle. Even though, as a kid, I could become second place in the school marathon without even knowing a marathon was coming up. And not even trying. Like, I wasn't even tired. Things like that, like, it's just who I am. Like, because I guess what I do, having to walk home 2 hours from school, things like that. Like, I think that's normal, and that's not normal for people to have to walk home from school 2 hours every day. Things like that. But that's just me, like, probably when I got home, I'd get on my bike and go ride till the end of the day anyway. So, That all that stuff. I don't get that big because I don't have the little special something, and I don't really have the drive to go cash in and smile and tell everyone I'm the greatest, because I don't have that biochemical engineering that those people on TV do. And that same biochemical engineering goes to the musicians. Apparently, it's the comedians too doing it. Who would have thought? They're always talking about alcohol, but yeah, I kind of like, yeah, and you don't equate some of this with it because their media has all these lies about what the biochemical engineering is, and they try to tell you that these people are getting 300 pounds by eating a couple chicken breasts a day and working out 8 hours a day, and they're not, bro. I don't think I've ever seen somebody, when I go to the gym full of big people, the real gym, most of the time when I look over my shoulder from hitting a heavy bag, they're sitting there talking. I'd be wondering, like, are they even lifting? Like, no. And most, I think I've seen groups of like 3, 4 people who are like taking turns lifting the same way, and it's like 15 minutes in between each set they are, and every 2 hours I look and it's a new crowd in the gym, so they're not in there 6 hours straight lifting generally. Can you work out a little bit more on that stuff? Yeah, but they're lying to you about that stuff from all angles, and so they're telling you like this stuff will kill you and put you to sleep, but yet in reality you're like watching musicians jump around on stage, and comedians run around on stage laughing and stuff, and they're not passing out dying asleep from this stuff. Hell, have you ever even heard of a musician or a comedian dying on stage of an overdose of what they're actually on? I learned that when I was little, like, because I was listening to the only musician I ever used to follow, and he was telling me that the other musicians had told him, you have to use this stuff in order to get to the top. And he's like, his band created like the best, most talented metal there was. So, I listened to a lot of his stuff to try to learn, how to play, watch him and all that stuff. And then he said all the old jazz greats were telling him that you got to use this stuff to get there. This is what I'm talking about now. And I'm sure he talked about that because he started using that. And then he went through a few years of making some of the best metal you might know them. They're called Megadeth. And they had a few years there where they made like some of the most intricate, talented, different music there was. And then all those bands, and I actually, who else I heard talk about that recently? Because someone was explaining me to the lyrics of early Metallica. That would have been James Hetfield writing those lyrics. So those groups reached a point where they came out and started talking about how they quit doing stuff like that. And you might be able to link the time frames there to where they made this really awesome, different styled music that no one else has ever really touched. And then they started selling this generic stuff that an AI could create probably better music than. There's this time frame, and both those time frames kind of mix up where both bands would come out and be like, oh, we got to slow down and stuff. Oh my God, my life is hell. Like, I'm a superstar on stage traveling across the world, man. We're going fast in a car and we almost wrecked. Man, I gotta slow down. I don't like going fast in cars. I don't like being a superstar, man. This is too much for me. So we're gonna quit doing what we did and see if things can't change. Because I almost died 100 times. You know, we're in the air in a plane going 200 miles per hour every night. You know how easily you can die in a vehicle going 200 miles per hour? Blah, 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 blah. So basically, they all admitted they were using these things. Some of them said they were told the same thing I'm talking about now. It, not quite the we're on the topic of alien race, bioengineering the human species, if we've fallen off topic by chance. You know, in the viewers' minds, because I'm still on topic here. And then the music starts to suck. You can't make no more good music. It's like the same way. You're not gonna get 300 pounds of muscle if you don't have that. But it's not. That drug's not just that. There's a bigger secret when it comes to those drugs. Those people are hiding. Is those drugs have the very same effect that the drugs that everyone else at the top is using. I always kind of assumed they were giving kids amphetamines to make them, to like bioengineer the human race and make them smarter. But why they gave me them? I mean, what it? Well, I'm about to quit school completely and stuff. Like I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm being forced to do all this stuff. So there's no point to doing that. That was actually the end. That was actually the end of school when they started drugging me. That was when I started opting out permanently. And just opting out of society in general. So unless that was the plan, that didn't help. I could have scored higher. Like, there wasn't any classes I could have went to. I mean, there's advanced classes later in life. They could advance me grades, and they did that. None of that changed anything. So I didn't need any more drugs to change it. And I can kind of assume they might be hunting people, because it feels kind of like negative, all the shit that's been going on in my life, all the groups, all the group that has been there offering me things I probably shouldn't take. And I'm not talking about necessarily all the drugs, but yeah, the shitty drugs, definitely. I would avoid the alcohol. I would avoid the marijuana if given the chance and stuff. Those aren't taking you very far in life. But if you're trying to race to the bottom, go ahead. There's very little options to escape the system, this planet that the humans have built. So, alcohol, they say, is promising, but I can tell you, if I'm not dead, good luck with using that to escape this place. Anyways, yeah, so there's those drugs, and they make those drugs for the common people. Those drugs, they give them to the common people. And the other stuff, you pretty much have to be part of their celebrity status in order to afford. That's very expensive. Even alcohol is expensive because they need their 20% tribute to get it, and then everyone else along the way is scamming you. And just like weed, like it's a huge scam industry. People sell pipes for like $30, like a little pipe. They sell lighters for like $10 to $60, and it's like really, really grinders for like $10 to $150. And they even got the scam going on with actual stuff they're selling these days, where it's more expensive than it used to be around here, and less quality. I mean, fuck, we're on the East Coast. It's trash out here. Although I was getting good stuff a long time ago, but now it's like it's just trash, and everyone's confirming like the dispensaries are trash. Um, but they grow that fake weed that looks real, and it looks like it's not trash, but it doesn't smell like some people like it smells good. It's like I don't think you've been around a lot of weed in your lifetime. It doesn't taste good, barely has a smell. Looks pretty. There we go. Looks pretty. Looks pretty expensive too, but so those two things they give the humans in the open, the average people, are kind of like things to mash their brains. And the other stuff they're hiding and making very expensive and impossible to obtain. And they own the governments. So they're the ones behind making whatever legal or illegal. And obviously, many people have thought that they've been using drugs to target populations that they don't want to exist anymore, things like that. And that ties in with the professional users dying of overdoses. That makes no sense unless you want to die. And those people aren't, like someone like me, I'm going around every 10 seconds like, why the fuck are you fucking helping everyone else enslave me and force me to stay alive? We don't see the people on TV doing that, dying from this stuff. I don't see any of them going around saying like, fuck you, I'm out of here. So they show no signs of wanting to bend the rules. And as a professional user, I'm sure every now and then you might be educated on what's happening. And every now and then you might actually bend the rules. Hell, I didn't bend the rules for a long time. Well, wait a minute. On certain things. I guess a lot of other things, but it's like, well, I would have been gone then if that could have killed you. I'm surprised that alcohol can't kill me. That's weird, dude. Like, I have more... You can smell fucking pure racing fuel fucking coming out of me. Like, just emanating from my pores sometimes. It's like, how does my body even live? I've got fucking 90% of fucking alcohol in my fucking veins and shit. And my body's like, what? But, yeah, so the other stuff, like some of the other stuff, supposedly you just take a little bit more and you're gone. And you know that. So if you've been doing that for 30 fucking years and not dying, that's weird that those stars die like that. Especially when we have proof. Like Michael Jackson said the magic word. Michael Jackson said the magic word. Michael Jackson was in financial battles to own his own music from the people who are in charge doing the biochemical engineering, selling the drugs, owning the government, fucking regulating the drugs, owning the corporations manufacturing the drugs. Because they don't own all that, just all that. They own the music industry too. He even used their name, like just randomly throws it out there. There's no other links that he ever... He didn't say the name. He was like, all these people in the music industry, they're stealing everything. They're trying to take everything. I think he said they're trying to kill me, too. I think he said those exact words. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's weird that you don't become a professional on something like that. 30-year professional. And Tom Petty's one of those hippie dudes. Look at Pink Floyd Waters right now. Waters, they had to move one of those attack websites that they used to attack me, that one of my followers had pointed out to me that they were putting me in. One of those websites now is upgraded to attacking, stars, and Roger Waters is obviously one of them. So, what are hippie musicians known for? I mean, let's look back at the other hippie musicians who died too. It's like, how did what's his name, man? Hendrix. How did Hendrix die? He's the most professional user there ever was, probably. Dude was like never there and stuff. Actually, you know what? You know what, Hendrix so much, like I look at that and I'm like, man, he's definitely blitz, right? But I look at him these days and I kind of see how I am, where like I'm not even on drugs sometimes, and I'm definitely not on acid all the time. So I'd like stare at the ground and I fidget, I act nervous. I don't look at people in their eyes, and people are all like, that's negative signs. But he does that, and those are the signs. Those are the way people look at that and be like, oh, he's on acid all the time, and it's like, no, that's who I am naturally. And looking back and trying to understand who I am naturally and how that exists, I think there's fear there. It's difference between fear and nervousness, but kind of a mixture of both. Like, I don't really feel fear, but it's kind of hard to say that action and attitude isn't instilled. Like it's like a knowledge. It's not so much like fear. It's more like a knowledge. Like, we're not going anywhere. This is a fucking waste of time. Like, oh fuck, let's get out of here. Like, oh, we're in an interview. Oh yeah, we'll just stare at the ground and try to look stupid and smile. He kind of had that same thing I do, and I always was like, oh, he's blitzed. It's like, and no one ever thinks I'm blitzed. Um, Fuck. They killed him. They don't like those hippie musicians, although they're the ones making them famous and stuff, right? It probably goes too far. Someone killed Martin Luther King. Someone killed JFK. They, it would probably look more weird if there was no one out there saying anything, like, we shouldn't be building nukes and letting everyone else build nukes and blah, blah, blah. It might look more weird if they didn't let a single person out there talking about that. But if they go out there and they, like, get involved too much and they learn too much, looks like they need to be killed off and stuff if they say the wrong things. That's been going on a long time. Well, a lot of people call it conspiracy theory, but it's like, really, magically, everyone at the top is dying. And then if you link together, there's a lot of links to who's really, really at the top behind them. And the things those people are involved in or saying sometimes kind of get into talking about the stuff you're not allowed to talk about. So it's always weird. But hey, that chemical bioengineering going on, like, I mean, it possibly could be used. Like, it's not just chemical either. I mean, they got the physical shit these days. Like, people got plastic faces and plastic bodies, but it's kind of old. I mean, like I said, the removal of the wisdom teeth, they started that 100 years ago, and now people call that a medical procedure. Hollywood needed that done because they were trying to get the sunken in jawline right here, and they claim that taking these teeth out will help that happen, which is, I don't know. I had mine taken out, and my gums are still like puffed out, like teeth are in there. I had that look naturally, so I didn't need them removed for that. But where they were removed, like, those gums are like still puffed out, like there's like even more than the front lines. It's weird. But shit, other drugs they gave me, I think, destroyed my frickin' molars too. Now that we're talking about that, I wonder if they aren't doing some of that shit to chemically perform that medical procedure, like to kill your molars and just not talk about it. Because my molars were rotted before they formed, and it was through a process that medication caused and stuff. But we know now, they say 100 years ago they were doing that on purpose to They were removing those teeth to make Hollywood, people in Hollywood, look more like everyone else. You know, they're name changers, they're face changers, they're hiding in the shadows. That actually makes a hell of a lot of sense that they've been trying to remove those molars to look like other people and then turn it into a medical procedure, and then magically my molars get destroyed by a medication. Supposedly helped in other ways. Hell, I'd go straight back on that if I was allowed to. I'm tired of my body producing so much of that stuff. But yeah, damn, dude, that's another thing I didn't even think of. I wonder how many ways they're doing that too. I know people on like 20, 30, 40 medications or something. And it's like, what? And I'm not new to that. Like, I used to have shelves full of medication. I didn't take them all at once. I didn't take any of them really. But they definitely were trying to give them to me and stuff. And they're all kind of garbage compared to this other stuff. All this stuff I can go to the doctor and buy, which if I were rich, it's weird. They say the rich and famous people can go to their doctor and get fentanyl and stuff like that. That's what your stars are using to perform, just so you know. The same effect as steroids, except for steroids also help you grow and heal. And that's more like a happy, creative mind state. It's really the only antidepressant I found is in that category. But that's completely illegal and controlled by the alien species, geoengineering the planet. And I'm asking, are they making that so only certain people they want are allowed to advance in the world? And they're purposefully destroying and enslaving the rest of the population on the planet with trash and making it impossible for anyone to attain the secret fountains of youth that they do actually sell. I mean, hell, I went through how many drugs that they tried to give me and stuff, and about none of them did anything. But there's stuff out there that actually does stuff, but hell, I've watched them outlaw. Like, they put me on some stuff and then they outlaw it. And they put me on some more stuff and then they outlaw it. And then take it from you too. Like, and it's like, wait, I think that stuff actually worked, and now you're just selling me garbage for like $10,000 a month. Seems weird that anyone could think that there was some positive motivation in this continued pattern here of those things all happen in any single part, but you put it together and it looks like you got a group it's pretty obvious you got a group bioengineering chemically and otherwise the planet and controlling the regulations and the physical force used to maintain a set of control over who's allowed to obtain what and become what through that bioengineering process that's been going on. And just like how, like, I mean, it's kind of led up to sick things. Like, are people supposed to be, like, cutting their bodies up and rebuilding them with plastic, shaving their bones down and stuff like that, removing their molars to get a nice jawline? Your teeth are pretty important. I don't see why you would want to remove them to look better. Especially they just happened to have someone comment to me the other day that, I just got my molars removed. Random stranger. They didn't even know I talk about this topic all the time. Random stranger says, I just got my molars removed. And my jawline hasn't gone down. And it's like, yeah, well, I've been watching my teeth for a while, and my gum line has never recessed. I have this look naturally long before the molars were removed. I don't think my teeth are there, but my teeth are down here, right? My teeth are down here. The jawline is right here. The jawline where you want it to come in for this look is right here. And my teeth is top teeth will be right here. The jawline, as you can see right there, the tooth would be right here. So, I mean, maybe removing them when I'm 8 or something would allow that not to grow out. But the gums have not changed. So that procedure seems kind of like probably a failure. A lot of that plastic surgery stuff early on, you can see there's, they always advertise you there's some mutants and stuff who've got it done. Look, they don't look anything like a human anymore. And the drug thing, from the outside, if you didn't know any of this other stuff's going on, it would look like they're just testing drugs and trying to figure out what works. But it's like there was already a whole bunch of natural stuff that worked, and they maintain strict control of that. And it almost seems like there's stuff that works that they prevent others from obtaining it. I've kind of like been forced into dealing with some of this stuff and learning about it. Some of this stuff made me sick, and I would have surgeries, and I don't know why. As much as it made me sick before, I would be like, oh yeah, I need that. But they're like, we're gonna just cut your head open and cut a bunch of stuff out of it. So you should take these medicines. And like, so 3 days later, I wake up and I don't feel very good, and screaming for the medicine, not worrying about how sick I'm gonna get if I take it. So I'm kind of like, different things in my life kind of force me to like learn these things. Weird how things get forced in my way, and then I see them for what they are, and kind of almost like laid out there to be spoken of. But I think I think there's like limitations there being placed on who can go where and do what in this world. I mean, I personally, I have a feeling that whole breaking into people's bloodline is used to destroy children and families that they want to get rid of. And might have a dog in that fight myself, where you are in a society or a circle that pretty much tells you not to do anything, not to go anywhere, not to advance in life, and then might be drugging you to make you do nothing. I think that's pretty much what they claim the drugs were supposed to do. Amphetamines should make you smarter, but we didn't really have anything to judge that with because I'm already getting all A's in school, and so there's no higher testing they can give me or attempt to give me for many years anyways. And so that seems, giving someone like that, like the person who wins second place in the school marathon without even trying, and is like years younger than, like a third grader, not a fifth grader. I don't know if you'd want to give someone like that drugs to slow them down and make them calm down. Sounds like that'd be the perfect candidate for the steroids. To me, yeah. I would think so. And, it could be at 14, 15, they were trying to get me on that, but they tried to do that through wrestling. I mean, clearly our coach would have taught me about that because clearly I only meet people at gyms who look like that. So these days, so clearly he would have taught me, but it's like through wrestling. That was really my last day of thinking anything at school. It's like, no, we're not gonna spend our lives grabbing men. Sorry, we're done with school. If that's all you have to offer is grabbing men. That's weird too. That's weird. I felt that way as a kid. They were off as one of the last things I let them offer me was grabbing and hugging men. And nowadays they've got a whole curriculum teaching men to grab and hug men without saying it's wrestling and stuff. Without saying it's wrestling. I had that weird feeling when I was a kid that this was somehow something I should not partake in at school, but now it's magically all in the open there. And can you guess who would be behind that? So, I mean, it makes no sense, Sean. Come on, wrestling's fun. We love watching wrestling. We love playing wrestling. Like real wrestling looks interesting. Like, well, I mean, fake is, the stuff people watch on TV, the fake stuff. That looks interesting. Picking people up and throwing them down the block and into a wall and, body slamming, power driving down. That looks crazy. But the rest of the stuff kind of looks like two men who are deeply in love with each other and trying to make a baby. So, yeah. That's weird because who's in control of those agendas? Could it be the exact same people on the hospitals selling the drugs, the corporations making the drugs, the government making the laws about who gets the drugs, the people on the record industry who are providing the musicians with the doctors to get the stuff they need to continue to be musicians? The people, well, they own the gyms. The people own the gyms are probably providing people with doctors' names these days. Other stuff back in the day. Man, I've been like freaking the fuck out because I can't even go to the gym anymore. Like I noticed that though in 2000. I was like starting to see that, but it's like I can't go to the gym anymore because without feeling like permanently fucked in my head because there someone is owning the fucking place and me kind of not wanting to give my business to these people, but what don't they own? And, well, there you go. Damn, down to the gym. They own that steroid industry. Down to the frickin' gym. Which is just kind of like a little cage for hamsters to run in a wheel on. It's not really anything special and important. I didn't need it when I didn't use it. Now that I've used it all the time, I need it. My body needs it. I used to go easily from riding my bike 4 hours a day, going to BMX mountain bikes, trails, walking 4 hours a day, running 4 hours a day, to doing nothing the next few years. Kind of not the same after being in the hamster cage. My body's kind of like, yeah, we gotta go do that or else. Anyways, yeah, we can assume, but I mean, hey, the humans love these people, right? The humans love the whole government. The humans are the ones who drugged me with stuff when I was a kid to take away my superpowers. Was that weird? Was that to take away my superpowers? Because it sure sounded like it. And none of those teachers or doctors or principals or people involved in drugging me were smarter, probably not even as smart as me. I'm going to assume if you're teaching fourth graders that's probably what you got. It's probably all you got. So, I don't see where they think that testing drugs on kids is going to help them, or they. I, I doubt any of them had any sort of degree, especially 90% of them had any degree in drugs or chemistry, bioengineering, or anything related to qualify them as being dope dealers, selling drugs to children, and forcing, hell, normal dope dealers. I think a lot of them are them, but they probably lock up other people who try to do that. They try to bait you into selling drugs. I've watched other people get locked up, and I've watched them come up to me and try to give me lots of drugs and be like, let's go sell this, bring a few $100,000 worth of drugs to me and be like, let's go sell this. And like, no, let's get the fuck out of my car with all that drugs, because that's odd. You just stepped in here and the cops just drove by. Are those your friends out there? Are those cops who just drove by when you got in my car with $300,000 worth of drugs? Are those cops your friends? Are you working? Wait a minute. They're the judicial system. Oh. So it's the racial supremacist organization. Kind of like the white racial system. The black racial system. Except for it's neither of those groups. Well, there it is. I mean, they got their steroids. Speaking of how they use that system there, that whole system of giving drugs to who they approve of and want to bioengineer to be their best monkeys and who they want to slaughter. That's interesting that they do that. Their little USA is the only nation in the world that has humans who are like 350-pound enforcers of the racial islo system. The racial. That's odd. They've already commandeered the suffix ishal. So you can't like make it so it identifies it as what it is. It's judicial and it's racial. You can't really change that in some way. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of little things that are left behind, like the prefix on ishal there is, and then the use of the Star of David as the deputy shield as well. I mean, they've definitely, and the fact that dope dealers all have the cross and saint and all this on their buildings, and where they mutilate children too. And yeah, I mean, usually they have their mark on everything. Like, Cubby's out there doing the pyramid, the New World Order, whatever. And they've got their people running around in the streets telling you to worship them or you're going to die and go to hell, and come give them all your money, especially if you've said something they don't like. You're probably going to get a visit from them real soon. And it's going to appear as a homeless person in a wheelchair. But it might not be homeless, and it might not even be a cripple. It might not even be a person. I think it's pretty easy instantly to assume we're not dealing with people here. That's the first thing you see once you see them is humans don't do that. We're not dealing with humans anymore, are we? But what's the purpose of what's the purpose and the extent of the bioengineering that the aliens are doing on the planet here? And they're not very good people at the end of the day. They are if you sell out to them. Oh, did Kobe Bryant, he got a mansion and all that stuff. Kobe Bryant had a nice car. His family probably still has half of his nice cars, half of his nice houses. They probably had to take half of that away when he died as a tax, a death tax, because there's a death tax. So when dies, the money they leave you has to be taxed like freaking crazy amounts. So they probably still, yeah, hey, at least he got his children a nice Lamborghini before he could raise them, before he could die and not raise them, right? I wonder if he had time to teach his family that he felt jumping around a minute before a game and doing all those gang signs and stuff. I wonder if he thought that he should teach his children that when they're young, or wait till they're 18, or not teach them at all, that he felt that has pre-game ritual has something to do with going somewhere in life. Looks like if he taught him that, he might have messed up. He might have taught him that too early, because he's not here now. That didn't save him. In fact, that might have killed him, considering that cartoon that showed him crashing did use the Egyptian pyramid in all seeing eye. So it looks like it might have killed him for participating in that system. And eventually, yeah, I'm saying he must have said something, but at the same time, he's jumping around for like a minute and a half every game, doing this stuff. Not out there saying like, "Hey, I'm part of the New World Order," like I do and stuff. But um, hey, that's me. I'm summoning the devils. They're gonna fucking come help me win the game and shit. And the aliens, you guys don't know about them, but here we are. Fucking, they're gonna slow down time and control the minds of other people and control my brain. So I'm hyped up and hopped up and jumping around and doing everything right, along with the drugs that they're giving me, which subvert my mind so they can control it. See, that's another little thing I've been wondering. How much of the drugs are just subverting your mind, and the aliens are using their space rays or whatever? I mean, I think it's a game world, so I don't know if they need space rays, but probably in their heads there are aliens in space, hiding in space, and have hidden cloak ships out there and stuff. Probably in their brain they are. Um, but I also assume that the bioengineering, the drugs themselves, probably all of them. There seems to be something else going on. Like there's time lapses, time advancements, times I've slowed down time to study the world, things like this. And then I'm also being fed that there's mind control and stuff like that going on. And I've watched this happen where humans magically appear. Humans' brains they're no longer in their fucking shell. Something else is in their shell other than what they used to claim to be. And some of the stuff I get shown talks about drugs being used as mind control. And then I think like using them and testing them myself, I was noticing the patterns, how that can happen. Like I can take something that speeds me up, but even that, and then I slow down afterwards and I go into a low brainwave state. Might notice things messing up, things I don't want to happen during that brain state. But I also, suspect that it's possible that when I'm in that more control, more energetic state, that there's things that can happen there. Makes me wonder how much of these things happen. Like when Kobe goes out there, or it's LeBron these days, since Kobe died for selling out to them. When LeBron goes out there these days, when people go out there, are they like being helped by unseen forces? Like when you're playing guitar and you're not really focusing on it. Look at Hendrix, perfect example. He didn't practice at all. He said he didn't even know how to play his own music. He gets out there on stage, on stuff. Yeah, you can fuck off and die. That's interesting. We get an interruption there when I'm talking about that. No one should be calling me. Yeah, I think it's highly possible that that's working that way too, because I feel a lot of things. I don't necessarily view the world. I walk around staring at the ground. I feel the other people. I feel what's happening in me. And every now and then I look up and I analyze what's going on around me. And I can tell you, there's definitely times where it feels like things have changed. And did I just do that? Did I just really do that? I mean, I can easily see it where random strangers come on my YouTube and drop some very important information, links to videos about me and stuff like that. But like the whole drug thing there. I don't know how was the point of drugging me when I was a kid. If I'm correct about that, was the point of drugging me when I was a kid to try to get me to leave school so I didn't just pass with honors by the time I'm 11? Because I'm not part of the in group there. Although it's possible the way they acted, I was part of the in group, but it was like more like 30, 70. And then the 30 was providing me with drugs. So who knew about that? Drugs that weren't very good. Yeah. So I begin to, that's another thing on top of this chemical thing. I begin to wonder if the chemicals they're using don't allow the aliens access to their minds to puppeteer them further. You know, there might already be clones out here that they totally puppeteer. Because there's definitely something going on. Something's puppeteering these fuckers. They're not, most of these people are not whatever human they claim to be. I can tell you that. There's a hell of a lot of them who aren't. Maybe I'm forced into certain areas where those people have already taken over those cities and repopulated them with bots or something. But I can tell you that's happening. And I suggest that I've been told, and I've had these weird premonitions and feelings that sometimes things are happening that I'm not in control of. Now, these other people, it's clear they're not in control of themselves. And someone comes, locates me, has no idea where I'm at, and then tells me about my personal life behind closed doors. This motherfucker, they have no control over themselves. They're lying about being the person they are, as far as I'm concerned. But definitely something else. And we can all agree during that point in time, something else is in control of this person's mind and body. And it's not whatever it's been claiming to be its entire life. We know that is a fact. We can't deny these facts that have been happening. And I'm suggesting, quite possible, that this whole bioengineering the human race through drugs and chemicals is a huge factor in how they become demonically possessed. Oh God, I hate that word, because the people on the other side of demonic possessions are just as big as devils. The people using that word are literally using the same symbols they're working with over here at the pedophile drug dealing buildings. And I mean, the New World Orders went from the all-seeing eye pyramid to the cross, to the Star of David, to the cross, to the satanic, probably pagan, who knows, maybe not. Atheism symbol, so it's all the same fucking people, and they just tell you that they hate each other, like, oh no, they hate us, that group hates us, Satanist hates us. Well, they are the Christians hate us. No, they are the Abrahamics. Oh, Abrahamics hate the frickin' Egyptians. No, you were the Pharisees and Sadducees. You were the ones enslaving everyone else. And every time you move, you claim you are frickin' slaves, just like you're claiming Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Barack Obama are slaves now. So, there we are. We're probably at the bottom of the of the non-rabbit hole at this point, aren't we? Right? It's easier if I just go around going, I think there's a group, an alien race enslaving the planet, and they're using drugs and energy weapons, rape, force, violence, genocide to enslave and control the human race. Mind control. Yep, but it's pretty easy, and could have just. I'm just going to keep saying that rather than explaining. I think from now on, because I'm tired of like explaining all the little details. I mean, this is kind of stuff I haven't halfway talked about. So from now on, we're just going to go around telling everyone, what I think? An alien race has been enslaving the planet for 6,000 years, and they're using drugs, mind control, mass genocide, slavery, torture, pedophilia, terror, manipulation to enslave the planet, and they are so excellent at it that everyone's fucking scared it's going to happen to them if they say anything about it, because it does happen to everyone who says anything about it. I think from now on, I'm just going to make a daily update or weekly update or something. That way, so I don't make these long, stupid ass videos. Everyone's got better things to do, like fucking avoid what's going on here. Try to have a life in between this possibility of what actually appears to be going on, happening. It probably takes a lot of time away from your ability to advance beyond that if you're watching YouTube videos. So I feel bad for making videos, feel bad for wasting my time doing it. I'm wasting other people's time. Could be spent, I don't know. What are you going to do? Build a bunker on Mars to hide from him? Does Mars even exist? Or is that just a scam they're making up for money? Or is it a place they're keeping you away from? Because if you get to space, then you're going to find out there's someone else who's always been out there, and they got a lot of problems they're causing out there. I think it's just easier to stick with that from now on. I put out most of the details. How many people does this stuff get out? Random bits of information have been dropped across the nation, at least. So put out most of what I can. What, am I going to write a book and the aliens are going to sell my book? They're going to what? They don't allow me to run for president and get on. They don't even allow me to be recorded when they're assaulting me to make good media events and stuff. Man, yeah, they're gonna sell my book, bro, and I'm gonna write a book because I love writing so much after being years of forced to fucking write constantly instead of doing anything I wanted. Anything of value, like move into the future I was creating and stuff. Now let's move into the past and write a book. Yeah, okay. I'll do that. I'll let you know. And I'm going to come back in 5 lifetimes and write a book. You guys stay on the lookout for that. But for now, I'd stay on the lookout for the signs that there's some sort of alien enslavement on the planet. And they're fucking everywhere. And once you start seeing them, find a way to calm down and erase it from your mind, because you're not going to be able to unsee it. Once you see it, and it's going to be pretty bad. But without seeing it, we're not going to be able to deal with it. Without admitting it's there, we're not going to be able to deal with it. And it's definitely, most of that stuff I just said is happening. You just have to make the connections there and see the rest of it happening in a way that parallels the words I've chosen to describe the possibilities of what it means when it's happening.